What?
After I get this sweet protein and fiber.
Again, stop talking about semen.
I know, right? No, semen on toast.
Hey, I'm gonna butter your toast. Let me butter your bread.
I'm gonna butter your bread, baby.
Well, with this latest with the Activision and Microsoft acquisition right now, or the opposite, Microsoft acquired Activision. Activision was in no position to acquire anything, even though they acquired so many things in the years to come, but now they just got acquired. So apparently it's now been reported that by Bloomberg that PlayStation is going to at least see 3 more Call of Duty games under this Microsoft Activision deal. At least 3.
So 3 more years?
Yeah, basically 3 more years. So there's like a concrete number that we're looking at right now, because when they first announced this deal, they were just like, oh yeah, we continue to honor our partnerships and our contracts, and everyone's like, what does that mean? And you got all your Call of Duty fans that just be like, I just bought a PS5, bro. What does that mean?
It means all pre-existing agreed titles that we're going to release there will continue to release there. Once that contract expires, PS5 will no longer see Call of Duty.
Yep.
It's just the way it'll go.
Yeah.
That's how the world works. Get with it.
Yeah, and it's like limiting your player base, but Microsoft don't care, because it's just like, hey, we get to show up Game Pass. Not only on our Xbox front, but on our PC front as well. You PC, bro?
You're PC, bro.
I just realized something, though, with this Activision Microsoft deal. I think I may have, in the last, 20 years, bought one Activision game, and it was ironically by a Japanese studio, FromSoft, and Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. That's the only Activision game I've owned over the last 20 years. Not the only Activision game I've played over the last 20 years. I have to go, because, went over to people's houses and played Guitar Hero and Rock Band, but, yeah, I just realized, I'm like, I'm not that big of an Activision Blizzard fan.
Well, also think of, I'm not much of an Activision fan, but you got their old stuff, right? I'm not much of a Bobby Kotick era Activision fan, because that's when they turned into just milk the cow.
Yeah.
It was, how do we get out, an annual, biannual Call of Duty? It was, what's our big money makers? What has all the homeboys interested in it, and just spit those out. And they've kind of,
man, I want to go home and play some Modern Warfare.
Yeah, and they just ignored all their old titles, like, as Phil Spencer, who's probably the coolest CEO out there. He said, he's excited about the back catalog that they just acquired of things that haven't been touched forever, like Hexen.
Yeah, my eyes got really wide when I saw that. I was like, you son of a bitch.
He literally name dropped Hexen.
Yeah, like Star Control. What else did he put out there? Bunch of stuff, right? Activision has a ridiculous back catalog. Isn't Gex Activision?
I believe so, yes. So Gex is Activision. Crash Bandicoot was mentioned.
Yep.
And just a bunch of other things, and also the fact that they acquired Sierra, because Activision owns Sierra and also King. I don't really care much about King, but Sierra. So that means King's Quest and all your old PC adventure games can come back under this Microsoft deal.
So they had all these unique things that they've acquired or published in the PlayStation 2 and 64 era. And they got completely. They were kind of like the kings of being homogenized, and which was a way most big publishers went for at least a period of time, and then you kind of saw a renaissance of branching out into these other older franchises again and remakes and things like that, because of, I think, largely because of the success of independent studios. But But
Yeah, so they were successful despite themselves.
yeah, but it's the same thing I'll say at work. Like, they lost sight of the forest for the trees. Like, they're so that we could do this. We could just keep putting out Call of Duties, and they know people will buy it. And since they're such a huge publisher, and if they're not publishing other things besides Call of Duty, it also leads a game void. So there's less variety of games out there, especially from the main publishers, because indie gaming didn't really come into full circle till the mid 2010s.
Yeah, that's when it got
right.
really
So this stuff started in the early. So there just wasn't a lot of variety of games out there for a solid 4 or 5 years, because everyone kind of followed that trend. So if there's not a lot of variety of games and they have a guaranteed seller, then they're like, well, we can just keep pushing this button, and it appeals to such a mass target audience. Who cares about the people that don't like it? Because the target audience is already big enough to just make us truckloads of money.
Exactly.
And that's a corporate decision. That's not a game developer decision.
No, and the fact that you look at top sales of something like that, and they say, oh, well, PlayStation just lost its top 2 selling franchises, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and the other Call of Duty that's not called Modern Warfare, because they just dwarf everything else in comparison. It's like there's Call of Duty and there's everything else. It's kind of like it's its own separate beast, like apples to oranges type thing. So if you're not into that Call of Duty money, you need your game variety, because that market's already been tapped. I mean, just talk to EA. I mean, is Battlefield really that big of a competitor?
No.
Not really. You could argue that Fortnite's a bigger competitor.
Yeah, I would say that. And, I mean, it's kind of different because it's a Battle Royale third-person shooter versus a first-person shooter.
Right. But they have similar appeals, to the point that Call of Duty made their own Battle Royale.
Yeah, and you could see Epic Games going down the same route as Activision, but the difference is that Epic Games now has their own storefront, so they could end up being like Steam, where they'll just be like, we'll just be like a game storefront, and here's our engine that we make for everybody. You can just outsource this, and we're no longer a games maker. We're just gonna, put out Fortnite and put out a whole bunch of other stuff that's not anything that we did back in the day. I mean, when was the last time you heard of an Unreal tournament? Or, man, when did the last Gears of War drop? Or is there even a Gears of War now being made?
Oh, man.